So it's good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Faye. This is Reality with Partiality, together with my guest, Dr. Faye, Daba Faye, Angela Daba Faye. Uh, Hello, how are you?
I am well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Yes, you're most welcome. Please go ahead and, introduce yourself and go right into your presentation, please.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. It could be good afternoon wherever you are, or good night. Um, I am Dr. Angela Flowers Jones, also known as Daba Faye. Um, and just to give a sidebar for that, Daba Faye is actually my African name that was given to me on one of my trips to Africa, where I was introduced and inducted into the Serer tribe. So Daba Faye is a Serer name, and it means woman, wise woman with a strong personality, and actually who works hard. And so I kind of believe that's fitting to me. uh, so I wanted to first of all thank Mr. Lewis for having me on here and for allowing me to share some of not just my personal journey but also my professional journey that literally has come 360 full circle for me. Which means that I was born and raised in Belize, Belize City, in the beginning, and then thereafter in Dangriga. And so I was born actually in on Handyside Street. 7 Handyside Street is where my navel string is. And then I went to Holy Redeemer Catholic school for the first part of my formal education. And then when my parents left for the United States, as we all know, back in the 80s, there was a flight, a mass immigration to the United States by many Belizeans.
Yes.
My parents was a part of that movement, and so I was my extended family was tasked to assist my parents with raising us while they were away, and my extended family meaning my aunt and my grandparents. So I started first in Belize City, then to Dangriga, where I finished and completed the rest of my formal education, meaning elementary school and high school. So I went to ecumenical high school.
More or
And
less, more or less, what year? Just to give us
uh-huh.
more or less what year that would have been high school.
High school, I went from high school ecumenical from 1986 to 1990.
Okay.
So actually, we just had our 36th reunion hosted by yours truly, with a few of the classmates who were able and willing to show up and come together and reminisce about those past 4 years at ecumenical. So that was 1990. So in 1990, I graduated from ecumenical, and I at that time ecumenical had just had their first, might be the second year. I don't remember if it's 89 or 90. They began their own junior college.
Okay.
However, I have always been a stickler for I want the best kind of thing, even if the best was with appeared to be beyond the reach. I tried. So rather than going to, at the time, I thought the best was I'm going to go to SJC.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I took my SAT and all that, and did it well enough to actually got into SJC. Didn't know where I was going to get the money from for SJC. My aunt had done her best to make sure I finished out of high school. My
Yeah.
grandparents, they were older, so they didn't have the means to send me there. So I applied for a work scholarship, and I went to SJC. I began my journey at SJC. And my first semester, my father actually passed away in the United States. And that kind of threw me for a loop. And
Okay.
I didn't do very well my first semester. Actually, I got a 1.5. So
Okay.
when my
Okay.
report card
Okay.
came home to my aunt, who actually, Mrs. Carmela Willoughby,
Mm-hmm.
who was
Mm-hmm.
also an educator. All my family members are educators.
Yes,
She
yes.
said to me, she said, I know you want to come to school, but if this is not for you, you may want to rethink this. I am here
Okay.
to,
Okay.
to
Mm.
support you, but the grades are not showing it. So I said, just give me
Mm.
one more chance. Give me one more chance. I'll get it together,
Okay.
and
Okay.
so without, you know, um, knowing how I would move forward, I just know I needed to move forward. So my second year, I went ahead and I came back. She allowed me to come
Mhm.
back. She had that faith in me. And moving forward, uh, I just pushed forward and ended up graduating with a
Mhm.
3.2. Um,
Okay. Okay.
and being I also St. John's. Well, I want to say high school was the beginning of my social work, so to speak, career. I always
Okay.
volunteered. When I
Mm-hmm.
was at Ecumenical, I volunteered in the conservation corps, and I used to
Okay.
go out and do clear the path at the Jaguar Reserve over there down south.
Okay.
So during
Okay.
the summer, I did that, or I would work, and then
Mm-hmm.
go back to school. So when I moved over to SJC, I continued that. So I became a
Okay.
part of the campus ministry, and
Yeah.
did a lot of the major work of getting students to
Mm-hmm.
to participate. And so by the end of my time at SJC, I was awarded Student of the Year because
Oh,
of all the work that I did there
great.
in terms of volunteering and getting students to participate. So
Okay.
during that time, I also was exposed to real social work, which meant that we volunteered at the children's home, which was at Dorothy Menzies at the time of St.
Okay.
Thomas,
Okay.
Stella Maris. I actually
Mm.
learned sign language while I was at Stella Maris.
Ah.
And the old health age old folks, we used to call it the old folks home back then, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so
Yes.
that really formulated and gave me a real feel of, is this the work I want to continue to do?
Okay.
And I loved it. I love after school going and sitting with the old people and clipping their toenails and hearing the old time stories and playing with the children at the Ratimenzi. So I literally did like 3 volunteer services throughout
Okay.
the week. I would stop at one time
Wow.
for a week at everybody, and
Mm.
encourage other students to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that really, I guess, showed my propensity to want to serve and help. And because SJC is a serving institution, they're
Yes.
Jesuit. After I
Yes.
graduated, um, I was actually called back to SJC to assist running the campus ministry. Uh,
Okay.
so for the first year of that, I did that, and we did a great job. I think we did a great job. We even was able to get Stella Maris a new playground um,
Wow.
by raising funds and doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
So but during that time, I realized I didn't just want to remain. I want to further my education.
Okay.
Again, UB used at the time was UCB, was in its
Mm-hmm.
infant stage of
Mm-hmm.
its creation, and
Yes.
I jostled. I did a lot of homework about accreditation and were they accredited? Would I be able to move? Let's say if I got a degree there, would I be able to move abroad and get a
Right.
master's? So I was already thinking that way. And again,
Mm-hmm.
because my family were educators, that education drive was always around in the air. There was always a push. So I worked, and during that time I was working at SJC, I
Okay.
kept filling out paperwork to go to universities abroad. Again,
Yes.
don't know how I may get there, who may I pay for it, but I kept filling out applications, right? And so I
Okay.
kept filling out applications. And at the time, Sister Mercy Cervantes was the dean of SJC, and she
Mm.
said she kept filling out this paperwork. And so one day she called me and she said, you know, I don't know if I know what you're trying to do, but I don't know if any of these places will serve your purpose. I don't know if they will,
Ah.
if they would serve your purpose. So
Mm.
I would advise you to apply for the SJC scholarship, because SJC, I'm not sure if they do it now, because I'm not familiar with their system
Uh-huh.
anymore, but back then they used to give 10 students scholarship to go abroad, and
Oh,
they would give 2 faculty opportunity to further their education.
okay.
And so I fell into the 2 faculty category. And so
Mm-hmm.
I filled out, I was like, okay, then if that's what you say, I want to fill it out, sister. And I fill out the paperwork and everything. And lo and behold, I was able to garner a scholarship to Loyola Marymount University to
Okay.
continue my and get my bachelor's degree. At the time, I thought I wanted to do, because I was in campus ministry, I wanted to do theology as a major.
Okay.
However, that was not seen as a how do you say it? A I want to say fruitful, but a feasible long term profession or degree by the United States, because at the time they were USAID was sponsoring half of the scholarship. So
Okay.
again, by design, I said, okay, if I can't do theology, I'm going to do the other thing that I know best to do, serve. And I'm going to start off with being a sociology major. And so I went to Loyola Marymount. Again, no money, didn't know how I was going to do it. I had family in LA at the time. My mom lived it. Well, she still lives in California. So I did have the support. But in terms of literally, like most other students who were going, or other faculty, they had, their money set together for their books, their this, their that. I had none of that. All I knew, I was going to go. They were going to pay for my scholarship and my
Mm-hmm.
housing, and I was going to
Mm-hmm.
figure the rest out. This always seemed like how. And so I went to California and spent 2 years, literally 2 years, because I went to school every semester that was offered. So fall,
Okay.
winter, spring, summer,
Mm-hmm.
and for that 2 years I went, because I had to catch up
Ah,
on all
I
the the,
see.
the you know the courses that they didn't accept from my transcript. And I remember driving, getting on the plane and still writing my last paper, because I had to come back home, but I wasn't quite finished with my last paper for that summer. So I remember I got here at St. John's, typed up the paper, and send it off to them so I could get my degree. Okay,
Mm.
so that was the first leg of my professional journey. And so I came back to SJC, and I began teaching.
And what
Basically,
what what year was this now?
so that was I went to Loyola Marymount 1993 to 1995. So I
Okay.
did 2 years there.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Then I came back in 95. So during that time also, college life was lifing, and I met someone who's now my ex-husband. And so we became college sweethearts. And I came back home. I had
Mm-hmm.
to give back to, at the time, the scholarships were connected to a contract. So, sweetheart or not, I had to come back home.
Right.
And we kind of kept that relationship going. And over time I found myself, is okay, this is the person I wanted to be with. I was young, but this is the person I wanted to be with. And I ultimately went back to the United States and got married and started my journey in America. Now,
Okay.
to be honest, that was not
Mm-hmm.
how I wanted things to happen. I actually wanted to stay in Belize, but again, you're young, and the love of your life says, I am not coming to Belize. I don't know anything about Belize. So I said,
Mm.
okay, I'm going to go back to the States, because I know the States too. He doesn't know Belize, so I went back. Belize, being in America was never my first choice.
So this love of the life at the time was a non-Belizean.
He was a non-Belizean. We met in
Go ahead.
college.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So we got married, and we began raising a family. I had
Mm-hmm.
my first child at 24,
Mm-hmm.
and I continued working. I found my niche right away. Got into social work. Um,
Oh.
Stayed home with my child for a year, because I felt like being a mother was very important to the first year of my child's life, having me there. So I stayed home for a year. But after that, the first job that I had was in a group home, working
Is
with
that right?
kids, working with kids, and taking and getting culture shock all over again, because I was like, how these kids can say and do the things they are doing. Oh my God, you know. But I learned this was American life. This was not Belizean life, right? Which
Yes.
would take me through several, I would say, evolutions of my own thinking of how life should be for children as they go
Okay.
into adults. Okay. Um,
Okay.
but I started working in a group home, and of course, I remember making $8 an hour. That was
Mm.
1998. I made
Okay.
$8 an hour US, and I was happy with my $8 an hour. But again,
Mm.
I was always pushing for more. So I took the tests for the state, um, and passed, and was able to garner a job at the housing authority, helping and working with special populations, which
Okay.
included um, people living with HIV and AIDS, homeless families, people with mental illness, mental health issues, and veterans. And so there, I remembered clearly going, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to work with these populations, every one of them. I don't care wherever they come, I'm going to work with them. So my first, I would say, real job, and at that time, I think I went from making $8 an hour to making $22 an hour, and I was, oh my gosh, I was making $22 an hour at 1998. And a lot of people wanted that type of job, so they kept asking me, how did you get that job? And I said, I just keep pushing. So anyway, my first that job entailed me moving into the communities. And at that time, California, LA itself was just coming out of the Rodney King riots.
Yes.
So, that will happen in 1992. So
Yes.
here we are 6 years later, and California is still kind of, LA is still kind of reeling from the effects of the Rodney King riots.
Yes.
South California was, not South California, but South LA was still boarded up. Places were still burnt out. Drug was still the streets were just littered with people addicted to drugs and things like that. So I found myself running in these neighborhoods, help trying to get them into housing, educating the community about what low-income housing was and how they could get it. I went from LA to Lancaster and back,
Okay.
running around in the neighborhoods and educating families and helping them, giving them what we call, when I said, a Section 8. I was known as a Section 8 lady.
Okay.
I walked into a neighborhood, the Section 8 lady, they come. And at this time, I'm about 25, 26 years old. So I get into that, and then I kind of was there for about a year, but I really didn't like the working atmosphere. I was there to learn. I was there to elevate myself, and there were lots of people there, older people who were at that job, and I didn't understand the mentality at the time until years later. The county gives you a stable life. You make good money, you have good benefits, and in the end, you'll have your little pension, and that's what people were pushing for.
I see.
I
Okay.
didn't see that. All I remember thinking, I need to help people, and I need to elevate my thinking and my education.
Okay.
So I did not last very long there. I just decided I was going to move somewhere else. But while I was thinking that, I'm thinking, where am I going to work next? And because I was a Section 8 lady, not just to the community, but to other entities and other agencies, I looked around and I got a job. I moved from one job to the next in a few days. And so in 2000, I started working at an agency called Beyond Shelter. And Beyond Shelter was an agency that assisted homeless women with children and homeless families. And I began as a case manager. The families would come in We would walk them from coming out of a shelter into getting into their permanent housing using Section 8 vouchers. And we would go into the home and help them with anything from balancing your checkbook to helping you clean your house, and anything in between. While I was at Beyond Shelter, I went from being a case manager in the downtown area to being a case manager in Culver City, where I ran the Welfare to Work program, and then made another round in the agency again, became a case manager / program coordinator. In that time, I decided I wanted to go back to school. So we're here from 2000 to now 2001. Oh, like a year, within a year or two, I was like, I got to get my degree. I can see where this is going. I have to push. So I applied to go to Long Beach University, Cal State Long Beach, as it's known, to get my master's in social work, because I knew social work was going to be my thing, right? And so I went and I started the 3-year part-time program. Mind you, I have a 4-year-old at the time. I am working full-time because my job told me you can go to school, but we're not giving you any time off. You have to figure it out. So I figured it out. So I remember sneaking out from work at 3 o'clock to get on the 405 so that I could be in class by 6 o'clock in the evening, because the 405, is the biggest parking lot in the world. So you were sitting on there just waiting to move 2 cars over. And I actually, while I was doing that, I was able to switch to another position, and I became the program coordinator for the only shelter that we had at the agency. And so by the time I'm ending my master's degree 3 years later, I am literally doing internship, working full-time, and I had a child.
But let me ask you this. Yes, you're multitasking. But did the hands-on experience of the job help you with your formal training?
Yes. And then that's the reason why I knew I wanted to do this, because now I know I have a full grasp of wanting to do social work, knowing the populations that I wanted to work with. I knew I wanted to help people. And whatever that looked like, because I didn't really know what that looked like. I didn't know what helping people meant, right? Okay. I think especially now for a lot of students, the same thing they say when you ask them, what do you want to do social work? I want to help people. What does that mean? Because I didn't know what it meant either. And so now that I am in this space where I am now, I ask that question, because no one asked me that question. Angela, what does it mean to help people? Right? And so
but I want to know. I want to know.
I get to what it means to help people. So I got this formal degree now, right? And I'm in this still at this place. And I remember getting my second degree, and I got the piece of paper and I sat down and I cried. I cried. And I cried because it wasn't tears of joy. It was tears of lack of purpose. Even though I was helping people, I didn't feel like I was helping people because I didn't know what that meant. I felt that I needed to ensure that everyone that I met, I was going to have a positive outcome and I was going to save the world.
Okay.
I'm a super social worker, right? I just wanted to save the world. I was going to help people. And it really, whenever I didn't get the results I wanted, it took me back. It made me feel like I went backwards. Getting the degree, I was like, okay, no, I had this degree. What I want to do with it? Because I don't know what to do with it. I just want to help people. But because I didn't know what helping people was, I couldn't even enjoy the fact that I had this degree.
Okay.
And that's when I began doing my own homework. What population I want to work with? How do I want to help people? Okay. What is my purpose? And I remember thinking one day, Angela, you're already serving your purpose. Just do. And once I had that epiphany that I was already helping people, when I help one person, I was helping people. And that's what I tell my students now. I said, because you have to remember, a person that comes to you is not just one. They have a child, they have a mother, they may have a significant other, they may have an aunt, they have extended family. So when you help that one person, you're helping a community.
Okay.
And once I got that understanding, I realized that you say bread filled basket. That's how I
Yes.
began working. Just one person, just one person. And I began seeing it in my work that people would come back and said, I met you so many years ago. We did this, and look where I am now.
Okay, but see, you are inferring, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that the help means wholeheartedly.
Yes.
Right? Like you drive to see whatever it is to its conclusion, not a halfway, half-ass job. Okay.
Because social work there's no gray area in social work. Either you are going to help and you will like this profession or not. Because remember, we're dealing with people's lives.
Okay.
Right? You're dealing with the possibility of someone living or not. And as I began evolving in my profession as a social worker, I began getting really hard cases, not just, I want to help them find house, I want to give them some food. I began working in crisis situations where people were threatening to commit suicide, where children were running away, where they were being trafficked. So the help became real. The helping.
Okay. But in which cases, the system you were working in, you had to network with other professionals when the case were complicated?
So you had to always, social work is what we call a continuum of care. So you start at one point and then you go through this continuum till you get to whatever end it is that you want. So throughout that continuum of care, regardless if you're the primary social worker, you network with other people to ensure that the client's needs are met. Because most people they'll come and they'll tell you, I'm homeless, I need housing. But as soon as you hear, they start telling you their story, realize that they're not just homeless. They may also have some mental health issue. They may also have been victims of domestic violence. They have been victims of child abuse, and the Pandora box open.
Yes.
Right? And so while you're helping them to that end goal, which would be maybe housing, you realize that all the other needs have to be met. So you start reaching out to other sources and say, hey, I have a client who may need some counseling. I have a client who needs help with their medication. And so you garner this wealth of knowledge, but you also garner this wealth of resource.
Right. And what you garner is sustainability of the program or project.
Right. Very much so. And so I went from working within Beyond Shelter for a span of 10 years, from being a case manager to becoming the director of their crisis intervention program, where we moved 250 families out of Skid Row in 2008.
Is that right? Wow.
I was at the end of that program. Actually, it was 2000. Yeah, it was 2000. There was 2008, 9, 7, 27, 2006 to about 2009 or so. And we, along with other agencies, Beyond Shelter was the head agency, along with the county mental health, children protective services, Department of Health. All these agencies came together to help these families move out of Skid Row, because there were children living in Skid Row, running over needles and all kinds of stuff that was not healthy for these children. So at the end of that program, we moved 250 students, and I was recognized by the County of LA for my work with all these
Wow.
families.
Congrats.
Um,
Yeah.
so then the housing crash came.
What year was this now?
This is 2008, I think. I want to say 2008,
Okay.
9, when the housing bubble crashed.
Got you.
Everybody was getting these housing in unscrupulous manners, and then they were losing it, and people
Mm-hmm.
were losing their jobs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my agency began folding. And I realized that I was going to have to, again, I was there 10 years, I was going to have to up my game.
Who was your president?
Uh,
2008. Who was your president?
it was Obama.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I just wanted to.
He did 2 years, right? It was the beginning of his presidency. You
Okay.
know, during that time, I also found myself in situations where my marriage had ended. Um,
Mhm.
I was also a part of, or almost a part of that victim of housing bubble. I was able to maintain my own home at the time. And then I
Mhm.
had no job because my job had folded. And so what I did is I continued to volunteer while I looked for another job.
Since you're so bold to come on my set here and brandish my marriage ended, the kid, there was a kid that emanated from this. How's the kid doing?
Oh, and actually, in between going to school and my
Mm.
master's, I had another
Mm.
kid.
Oh,
Forgot- I forgot that part.
okay.
I was literally walking down getting my degree, walking down the, what you call that, the aisle, six
Uh-huh.
almost 7 months pregnant. So my mom was like, Angela, what are you, what, girl? I was like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, well, look, it happened. What we gonna do? So by then, I had two kids. I had a boy,
Yeah, yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
girl, the older one, and
Oh, up here.
yes.
Wow, that's nice. That's
And
nice.
I realized that there and then I had given back to the earth and back to the world, and I wasn't going to have any more children. I had a girl
Oh,
and a boy, so I decided I wasn't
oh.
going to do that. So again, uh, things didn't work out between their father and I. So
Mm,
we
mm,
separated,
mm.
and in the span of a year, I had lost my marriage, I'd lost my job, and almost I was losing my home of everything that was happening with the economy. Um,
Oh, oh.
so but in my head, I said, okay, I have to reinvent my purpose, right?
Okay,
And so
okay.
because I was able to work with so many other agencies, I began pulling my resources, because that's what you do in social work. You pull your resources. That's how you help people. That's the, it's not, no one helps someone on their own. You help
Okay,
people as a community.
okay.
And I think that's part of what is lacking in our community in Belize. We help, I'm not saying we don't, but I think the mindset of helping people as a community has
Mm,
we've kind of strayed away from that. We've gone to the Western world of, everybody out upon their own and then do their own rather
mm,
than the community
mm,
helps.
mm.
So, but anyway, so we're now at 2010,
Okay.
going into 2011. I spent a good 10 months reinventing my purpose, figuring out what I
Okay.
wanted to do. I knew it was
Mm,
going to be social work. So anyway, I ended up, because I had these resources, I ended up getting a job with the state of California
oh,
and
okay.
becoming a child protective service worker or social worker.
Oh,
Now, saying that, it was not a job that I would have preferred. It wasn't. Um, I felt that the system, I had a bout with the system before, and I felt that the system was not doing justice to the children that it was serving. However, I decided in the small capacity that I was going to work within that system and do the best I can.
yes. But see,
And
but while we're there, that's a different category that you're learning now of social
mhm,
work.
yes,
Go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
going to elevate, I was going to do my best, and I was going to learn something new. Because you always
Okay.
know you gonna go the last day of your life. You're gonna be like, yes, I didn't know that. I learned that.
Mhm.
Because we
Mhm.
continuously learning, no matter how old we are. So
Right.
I put my learning hat back on and I said, I'm gonna go ahead and learn this new
Mhm.
mode of job. And
Right. Right.
for the next from 2011 to
Mhm.
2024, I was
Ah.
a child protective social worker. And I did a lot of different jobs within that time. Because in the state, there are lots of ways you can go about doing different things. I was a social worker. I was an investigative social worker. So I was the one that went knocking on the door, and they would say to you, "Why are you here? I don't want to talk to you." Got spat on, all kinds of stuff. I became a field coordinator for MSW students. I did court work. I did several things throughout that time. But while
Mhm.
I was doing that, again, I realized now I had learned this job. What next? Because there's always something next. There's always something else. And I decided, okay, I love, I love doing what I do. I love social work. Now, how am I going to spin this? So I decided I'm going to go back to school. But I didn't want to spend 6, 8 years going back to school. I didn't have that time. At least I felt that way. I was just like, I didn't have the capacity. So I'm still taking care. I'm a single mother, still taking care of my children, sending them to school, and all that.
And you're at the master level.
I'm at the master's level.
Mhm.
But now it's time for elevation because now I've learned this other job and now it's time to do something different. Now it's time from working micro work to working macro work. So that's
Okay.
what I was learning. That's what I was learning. So
Okay.
I found a program that was going to take me half the 8 years, which pulled together social work and
Mhm.
organization leadership and clinical work at
Ah.
USC, at
There's
University
some
of
there's
Belize.
a clinical element to it. Okay.
Yes. and I
Okay.
be- and I went back to school working full time because again the state was like, you can go do that, but you gonna have to come to this job every day. And so,
Okay. Wow. Wow. Wow.
by this time now my children are this was 2017. By this time my
Mhm.
children are in high school and in college, so there's
Very good.
more, you know,
Yes.
and
Strain. Heavy strain.
right.
Right.
So I went ahead and went back to school. I even pulled a few other Belizeans to go back to school with me who were working at the state with me. And
Uh-huh.
so I had another young Belizean young lady who was at the county with me, and she and I went back to school. So again, we got support to support each other because
Very
that's
good.
what you do. That's how you work this life.
I like
And
that.
so
I like
we would call each other. We were in the same classes, and and within that I also garnered support from other students. So we had 6 women, and we all traveled that journey, getting our doctorate in social work together
I see.
as a
Ah.
community.
Okay.
If
Okay.
it I can safely say, if it wasn't for some of these women, I may have stopped. But when I
Mm.
was tired, when I was crying, when I was upset, frustrated, they were like, girl,
Mhm.
no, 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 come on, let's get a drink and let's talk about this.
Mhm.
Where are we?
Mhm.
And I did the same when they had their own crises, you know? And
Mm.
so I was able to push forward and get that doctorate degree.
Now,
In the
now,
midst,
now, these women were from all different, right? They were
they were
not okay.
They were from different, they were school administrators, they were mental
Mhm.
health professionals, they were all just like the continuum of care. It's the same way in
Okay.
school.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Okay. Mhm.
so we traveled together,
Mhm.
we worked our classes together, and we pushed each other to get that degree. So I didn't
Very
get this
good.
degree on my own. My family
Oh.
did the same. My mom was like, "You went back to school again?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am, it's gonna be okay." She's like, "Girl,
Uh-huh.
you're a professional student."
Mhm.
And
Mhm. Mhm.
but
Mhm.
saying all that, I was able to get this. So 2017 to 2018, I'm getting this degree, and in
Yes.
my head, I'm thinking, I know that my time here is coming to an end. And when I say here, in America, I consider myself uh, a pacifist. I do not believe in war, and a utilitarian by all means, for the greater good of all. And I also consider myself a liberalist, right? And I realized that the country where I had garnered so much um, resources, so much my education, that my time here was coming, my agreement was moving to an end. I did not like the political atmosphere because of the type of person I am, because of my own thoughts and my own ideologies. It wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. I didn't want to spend time trying to fight a system that was not going to support me anymore.
Fine, fine.
So I realized as time is coming, I'm going to do something different. Um, so by 2019, um, I went back. I had graduated. I was back to the county, but I was not happy
But
because
by this time, you want to, they were beginning to move from under your shadow because
my
they
children,
would, yeah, they would
right,
have their own careers too, right?
right. So by then, my daughter had graduated from college. She had gone to the University of. She was at uh, SVU, which is School of Visual Arts in New York. And
Mm-hmm.
so between her father and I, we were able to send her to school four
Mm-hmm.
years, and she
Mm-hmm.
graduated with a degree in illustration and graphic design.
But you allowed her to have her own conviction, right?
Oh
About
yes,
whether
none
to
of
stay or whether to.
none of my kids wanted to be social workers. They heard enough
Okay.
horror stories from me. They were like, mm-mm. Both of
Okay.
my children are artists. One is does draw. She draws. She does use her
Mm-hmm.
hands, and the other
Mm-hmm.
one is a director. So he decided that he was going to go the movie route.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and which his father is in that business as well. So it wasn't hard for him
I
to
see.
want to be that. They were like, we're not doing that social work thing at all.
Ah. Ah.
So I have a graphic designer and I have
Mhm.
a movie director.
A Hollywood type.
Yes, the Hollywood. So I currently I have a son that's going to USC, and
Okay.
he's getting his degree currently.
Mm.
Don't ask me that what, because I think he might have changed a couple of times. So if I
Okay.
say it, I know how to get it wrong, right? Um, he's also done very well in the movie industry. He works. He's
Ah,
won the Young Arts Awards for up and coming artists,
very
and
good.
and
Very
he
good.
currently works for Warner Brothers. So safe to say, I want to say my community, because I didn't do it by myself. My community did
Mm.
a very
Mm.
good job with my children,
And you did,
helping
yes, like you said,
ensure.
yeah, jointly. Mm.
Right, right. So my community, which included myself, my sister,
Mm-hmm.
their
Mm-hmm.
father,
Mm.
um,
Yes,
my
yes.
mother, my aunts, my cousins, my
Mm.
brother. We all
Mm.
got together and we helped to push and have our children keep on
Yes,
the path.
yes.
I mean, times were not always the best, but we did the best with what we had.
Right. Right.
So here I am,
Uh-huh.
2019. We're back at
Uh-huh.
2019. One kid
Uh-huh.
graduated from college. She came back home. The other one
Yes.
graduated from high school, going to college. 1920, COVID hits. And
Uh-huh.
I, COVID hits. Um, and I realized I was able to sit still. COVID, and this is not just me, allowed a lot
Uh-huh.
of us to sit still. We were not running there and there. You couldn't go out.
Yes. No,
right?
you couldn't.
We couldn't.
Yes.
So I used to sit. By then, I had met someone else who is now currently my husband.
Wait, one moment, one moment. I can be
Go
slow. I can be slow. So okay, you hadn't worn the graduation hat. You were about to.
Oh,
You
okay.
wore.
So go back. I wrote my graduation hat. So I graduated in 2019, right?
Okay.
Right. And in the middle of that, I met someone, right?
Ah, ah,
Who, while I was getting my degree, I met
ah,
this person. And I
ah.
said to him, like I'd said to the many others who came before, yeah, what? I have certain things where I want to do, and nobody can get in the way of that. And
Black.
disclaimer, I'm gonna be straight up. I had come on a journey that had taught me that yes, you could love someone, but you have to love yourself first.
Oh,
You have to, and
oh,
a lot of us don't love ourselves. We say we do, but when we
uh,
actually work it out, we don't. When you're actually
oh,
doing it, we don't.
oh.
So I
Okay.
told my husband, I said, look, I'm married to this degree. This is the husband right now. If you want to be on this ship, you have to be and share me with this husband will come before you.
Okay.
And he said, you know what? No worries, do your thing. I'm here. And this
Okay.
man stood with me, by me.
Mm-hmm.
Through I sit down to write them 27-page paper every week. And he would
Mm,
sit there and watch me. He would,
mm,
do his little thing on the
mm.
side and just was there, just sat there and encouraged and supported me through that.
And this is in California.
This is in California.
I want to see how you move this one, I believe. I want to hear this one.
COVID hit, and
Uh-huh.
we're sitting in our garage and we're
Uh-huh.
thinking. And I said to him, I said, I don't think I want to live in California anymore. It's getting too
Oh,
expensive. And he said, you're right, he worked for AT&T, the company AT&T for many, many, many years.
oh, the man got money, man. The man
So,
set, man. The man set.
so I said, so where do you think we want to go?
Mm,
Well, we could move to Florida. Well, by then, the atmosphere was changing, the political atmosphere is changing. I said, well, Florida. I said, because you know what? I really know in the end I want to go home to Belize. He said, oh, okay. I
mhm.
said, remember when I tell you that you are jump on a ship? The ship is I feel at Belize now. So disclaimer again.
Uh-huh.
We're not married. We're not married. I said, so I didn't let you know that the ship has taken a little move and the ship think we're going to Belize. I don't know when, but I know that's where I would like to go. He said, okay, let's think about that. I said, so but why would they do that? Man, why want to go to Florida? We get a little closer to Belize. Yeah, it'd be easier for me to hop, skip, and a jump home.
Right.
He said, I don't think I want to do that because I don't want to be on the news for killing anyone in Florida. I said, what?
Okay.
He said,
Okay.
yes. He said, a black man in Florida is not a good thing right now. So let's
Okay.
figure out how we are get to Belize. So I was like, you want to go to Belize? He said,
Direct.
yeah. He
Mm.
said, yes, I'll go. Okay. So in the middle of COVID, we
Mm-hmm.
took a trip to Belize.
To test this water or
The water. Just to come, just to visit.
okay.
Never been to
Okay.
Belize, just to visit.
Right.
He came and we had a blast. We met this one. He met my family, my extended family here, and all that.
You
And
you roll
then
you roll out the carpet, man.
I rolled out the carpet. Sure did. I wasn't playing. I mean, I know I bowl, but I'm not stupid. I
Yeah.
bowl, but I'm not stupid. I knew exactly. I just couldn't be like, well, upon my terms. I knew I still had to do a little massaging, you
Yeah.
know. And so when he came back, he said, "But why haven't we moved to Belize yet?"
What?
I
Okay.
said, "You only gone there once,
That's
Living
nice.
there and going on vacation are
Yeah.
big two different things."
Yes,
He said,
yes,
"No,
yes, yes. That's right.
I can do it." In the middle of all that, he decided to do his ancestry. His in his From what he knew, his
Mm-hmm.
parents His dad came from Texas. His mom came from down south. He was born
Southern United States.
there in the United States. It was his father had passed many years ago, but
Uh-huh.
his mother was still alive. So he
Uh-huh.
said, you know what? While I'm at this new, I guess, impasse in life, let me do my ancestry. Well,
Mm-hmm.
when the man do his ancestry, the man have Belizean cousin,
Is that right? Give me a last name.
Jones.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Now, the one of the reasons he did it was, I think, was
Uh-huh.
because his last name is the same as my mother's maiden name.
Oh.
And it was a little running joke that about kissing cousins, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
But
Yes.
when his ancestry came back, he didn't come up as a Jones. He came up as
Mm-hmm.
a Tucker, a Golap, and a Deshiel.
Uh-huh. I
Did
get.
not know he had Belizean ancestry.
Yes, 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 yes.
So he, in his, I think in his breakdown of things, this
Mm-hmm.
was where he was supposed to be.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so in 2024, 3, we walked away from everything in California, in the States, and moved back to Belize.
Wait, man. Wait, man. Wait, man. Cold turkey? Or you had something to leap to?
Cold turkey.
Ooh, pa.
He was at his job for 25 years, so he resigned. He was able to resign and
Okay.
retire. I
Yes.
resigned. My job. I told him. I said, I think I need a break. I'm having
Yes,
some
yes,
issues,
yes.
and I told him. I said, I'm going to take a break, and that
Ah,
break was on forever. They're still waiting for me.
I got you. I got you. Respect,
And
respect,
and so 2023 we moved cold turkey.
respect.
I didn't have a job here. I didn't have anything, and I
Yes.
sat with
Wow.
myself for a
Wow.
year.
I salute both of you. I salute both of
Thank you.
you. Yeah.
We sat and we were still for a whole
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
you know, and I realized I was going to help people now. How
Mm-hmm.
was I going to do that? When was I going to do that?
Yes.
Where was I going to do that?
Yes.
And I realized I had come full circle 360. I came
Mm-hmm.
back to the country that helped me where I was. So now I was going to give back. How I was going to give back, I decided I'm going to go into academia. I'm going to start this
Mm.
from the macro level. I'm going to
Mm.
start with the students.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that's where I am. That's how I got to University of Belize.
I see. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. What year was this now?
So I
You
I
and UB,
removed
you and UB got married when?
2024,
Okay, go ahead. Go
the
ahead.
end of 2024.
Uh-huh.
UB and I became partners. And
Okay.
I started out as a lecturer at the social work department, teaching social work subjects for students who were receiving their bachelor's of arts in social work. And I did that for, I want to say, from like August, September to June, July of 2025. And then an opportunity to be an administrator came up. And so I applied for that position and became the chair of the social work department.
Same department. Okay.
Same department. I will
Ah.
never stop being a social worker. No matter what capacity I am, I will never stop being a social worker. That is my heart.
Ah.
That is what I do. And
Ah.
so, from all the experiences that I've garnered, from all the lessons that I've learned, I
Mm-hmm.
decided that I wanted to impact change through people who wanted to do the same. And these are my students.
Yeah, but stick the pin for me. Stick the pin for me. Because we have to have a part two another time. But in the meantime, concern Belizean women against domestic and sexual based violence. Is that what that is?
Concern Belizean women is just concern
Uh-huh.
Belizean women.
Well, okay,
But they
but you
do they do work. They do community work. Is that what you're asking?
well, I'm trying to discover this movement that I think I see you're affiliated with. If you have
Right.
something to do with the pioneering of it, or you joined it, what happened?
So, beginning of this year, Concerned Belizean Women is a organization run by women for women, and what they do is that they assist women to elevate themselves, empower women and girls, and that could look like anything from helping them go back to school, helping them with their housing, any situation that women find themselves in that they need assistance with. Concerned Belizean Women reaches out to help. One of the ways they do this is through pageantry. And so what they do is they back in 2009, they began the Miss African Queen pageant as a way to raise funds to assist to do what they were doing in the community with girls, empowering girls and women.
Okay, I
And
get you.
so this year, 2026, May, I became the
Queen Bee.
queen. I was trying to figure out what number queen I am. That's because I think they began in 2009. So I think it's maybe about the 10th or the 11th. So I became Miss African Queen 2026, as well as becoming an inductee into the Concerned Belizean Women organization. And so I am doing work with them as
Okay.
not just as a queen, but also as a part of the organization.
Yeah.
Even after that, I will remain with Concerned Belizean Women doing what I do best, social work.
Yes. Yes, but before I interrupted you, right? You were talking about your career with UB.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So right now, I am the chair of the social work department, which puts me in a unique position to create, not just create, but also
mm-hmm.
collaborate with other entities and other organizations to ensure that social work students are getting the information, they're getting the resources, and they're getting the education that they need, so that when they go out into the community, they're doing justice, they're serving their community, and that they're doing right by their community, not just out there being social workers. Because I'm going to tell you, I've had some negative experiences here in Belize about what social work looks like and how social work is being run.
I might be made to understand. UB after a degree in social work. Is that
They do. They do.
okay? What?
They offer a bachelor's of social work degree.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we are also working on working on getting a master's program in the
Okay.
future.
Okay.
Right.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So right now, in the capacity that I have, I'm able to bring students together with other entities outside, and get students to figure out, is this what I want to do? How am I going to help my community? Am I going to do this on a micro level, or am I going to do this on a macro level? Because as a social worker, there are many different um, parts of the field that you can get into. You can get into give me 1 second, I'm sorry. You can get into the field of medical social work. You can be a child protective social work. You can be a human resources social worker. You can be a social worker who works with veterans. Um, you can be a mental health social worker, a psychiatric social worker, which is also somewhat like a mental health social worker. You can be a therapist, a clinical therapist. There's so many different area of the field that you can be in, and I want people and the students, up and coming students, to understand. I'm not just, because people think I just go take where people pick me as a social worker. That's not what you do. Many times we don't remove children from people's care. We try to work with the family to keep the family intact. Now, when it's cause for removal, for sure, when it comes to safety, that's what we'll do. However, social workers are pillars of our communities. everybody comes to us. Everybody, and people don't understand that. People know, oh, you just go counselor, or you just go that is the social. There's social workers in the hospitals. So we run the gamut in society, and I need people to understand that that's what we do. We're not just here to interact with children. We're here to interact with families. We're here to strengthen our communities.
Okay, this is a good point then to give your concluding remarks, but I want to invite you back.
Yes.
Because I need for you to consider running some clinics on the show.
Okay.
Where you bring people to hash out, to ventilate. Even if they have differing background, differing positions, bring them on the show to ventilate.
Okay.
Would you be open to that?
Sure. Okay. There is a plethora of things that can be discussed, and people are always willing to talk.
Much of that. Go ahead and conclude for now, but to be continued. Of course.
Yes. So I'm here at UB. This is my new journey. And I am hoping that this journey will unfold with many, many things. The good times and the bad times. We are here, and I am here to ensure that my community, my Belizean community, is going to be sung. And moving forward, we are going to be the best ancestors for our descendants.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Angela, aka Daba Faye, with all these last names, Davis, Flowers, Jones. Wow.
We're 7s.
Yes. I can't wait to meet your husband and your children.
Yes.
And my regards to your students and your UB community as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Lewis, for having me. I will see you soon.
Yes.
Some more good stuff.
I'm looking forward to that.
All right. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and bye, everybody, wherever you are. Take care. Ashe and blessings.